said the Lions won a game. Man, we going all the way, baby. We about to celebrate. Why?
And we are back. Great Lakes State Football, episode 49, talking everything football in the state of Michigan. And this is a very special 2023 Michigan high school football playoff preview episode. I'm Vince with my co-hosts Brett, Kory, and Tate, and our special guest returning after actually 2 weeks. No, 2 episodes. He was 2 episodes ago. Cannon Dean, Mr. Goose, aka Mr. Goosepoop. How you doing?
I'm doing well, guys.
It's great to have you back. Great to have you back, man. Always great to have you on.
The magician himself.
The most criticized and beloved high school football social media influencer, I don't know if that's what you want to call it. Or
can we make a public announcement that his statistics are based off a model and not his own personal opinion, folks? So stop calling him a racist. Stop attacking this man's identity. He uses a computer. It's not even him.
I thought it was all emotion based. I think it's all emotion. He's picking favorites. He's picking favorites. Before we get too far into the episode here, we do have to thank NeuroPeak Pro's Intel Belt. The NeuroPeak Pro's Intel Belt is a premier device that revolutionizes performance training through the proprietary precision breathing and heart rate variability training. Download the NeuroPeak Pro app to conduct training sessions and learn to breathe in a way that helps to maximize your performance in the game, at work, at home, and when it matters most. The Intel Belt uses Bluetooth technology to connect to the NeuroPeak Pro app, where you will conduct precision breathing training sessions and monitor HRV in real time, gain insight into your breathing metrics and progress, learn how to adopt a successful breathing practice with video instruction with the NeuroPeak Pro team, unlock instructional content specific to your areas of interest, learn to utilize precision breathing training in your everyday life to help you maximize your potential. You can get 20% off your purchase of an Intel Belt with the code GLSFB. That is 20% off with our special code GLSFB. Thank you to NeuroPeak Pro and their Intel Belt. And with that, let's talk about Michigan high school football playoffs. Very excited to get into the 2023 playoffs. We had Cannon on last year for this very same reason, playoff preview. We will also do another episode in a few weeks if he is still likes us and still willing to come back on, do championship preview like we did last year. Obviously a lot more variability when you're 4 weeks out from the state title games, but still a lot of fun to try and make some predictions. Before we are going to make some predictions live on air here. Well, we're not live, but we are going to record ourselves making predictions, Final Four and state championship picks for each of the 11-man football divisions 1 through 8. So far, sorry for any of you 8-man fanatics out there. Nothing against 8-man football, just kind of not the area of high school football that we pay as much attention to, and just will take a little bit more time. So we're going to just stick with 11-man football here. Before we get into those predictions, we would like to talk about a couple things about the playoffs in general, a bit of a entire playoff field preview. So first, we've got about 3 things we want to address here. First one, any snubs? Is there any teams, divisions 1 through 8, that anyone thinks got snubbed? I will say off the top of my head, I remember a big difference from this year to last year is this year only one 6-win team out of all 8 divisions missed. Last year, I think it was 3 or 4. So this year, if I remember correctly, there was just one.
Richland Gull Lake.
Gull Lake, which was Division 3 or 4? Division 3?
D3, the fake GL.
You guys want to know a good story, an interesting story about Gull Lake?
Yes.
And why they didn't miss the playoffs? So it's interesting. I wanted to do a Twitter thread titled "How a Small Town in Southwest Michigan Saved King from Missing the Playoffs," because this is exactly what happened.
Saved Detroit King?
Yeah, Detroit King. So
4-5, yeah.
We projected King to come in at 33, just missing the playoffs, with a loss to Moeller. They lost to Cincinnati Moeller like expected. the team they were up against was Gull Lake, 32. They were expected to make it at 30 at 32. So the take King's spot basically with a win. They did win, right? But they still missed it. Why? Because they needed Kalamazoo Loy Norix to beat Bronson.
Oh,
it was
no.
The spread on the game was 5 points.
Oh my God! I just looked at the score of that one. Yeah.
So Snooze and I had it as favorites win. That's how it was going to go if it went chalk. It was a close game the other way, right? Bronson, small town in Southwest Michigan. Not many people see that, but that's exactly what happened. They saved King from missing the playoffs.
Wow, that's crazy.
And here's why it was such a big swing. Sorry, guys. But
Loy
Norix is a D. What is Loy Norix? A D2 or a D1 school?
Loy Norix is Division 1.
Division 1. Those are a ton of bonus points.
Right.
A ton. Richland Gull Lake missed out on 0.75 bonus points from that. They would have jumped way up above King. And
because King is only less than 0.6, 0.5 something above him. So yeah, that would have superseded him. Yeah. Wow. That is pretty cool how those all tie together like that.
Isn't it crazy?
That is crazy. Man, King was one small school upset away, or the upset not happening for missing the playoffs. That's pretty crazy.
Cannon, you should do a little deep dive on how many 4 and 5 teams got in over 5 and 4 teams, because that's also, we talked about this last year. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
can't control who you play. I mean, obviously you don't want to play scrubs, but
beat them.
I don't know if there was that many. Was there? Division 1, only one 5-win team missed.
Plymouth, but there was multiple 4 and 5 teams that got in.
Troy was the 5 and 4 team that missed. Yeah.
Sterling Heights got in at 4 and 5.
There's six 4 and 5 teams made it in Division 1. 6 5 and 4 or 4 and 5 teams made it in Division 1.
I understand the beat them, Brett, but if you don't play them, you can't beat them.
I mean, 4 and 5, 5 and 4 is such a small.
So do we want to jump into snubs then right now? Is that?
Yeah, we can talk about snub. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So I would, Kory, and I know you're gonna hate me for this, but I would say the number one snub in D1 actually went 2 and 7, and that would be Anchor Bay.
Ooh,
I don't dislike that. I just couldn't imagine going 500 and then not making the playoffs, but a team that didn't made it.
Yeah, it's kind of different approaches we take.
Anchor Bay, yeah, that's a hell of a schedule.
And they beat Grosse Pointe South, who's ranked in the top 10 of D2.
They lost to Macomb, Dakota by 7, Chippewa Valley by 1 in overtime, Utica Eisenhower by 6, Sterling Heights Stevenson by 3, Roseville by 3, Stony Creek by 1. Oh my God, what a painful series of losses. Oh, that's a brutal. They were at 4 with only 2 wins. They were at 42. They're only 10 spots out of the playoffs with only 2 wins because they play all D1 teams essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have finishing the regular season as the 16th best team in D1.
Wow.
So if playoffs were seeded properly meaning Goose's way, they would be playing on week 2. They'd be playing in a district final.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kory, how do you feel about Detroit Voyager College Prep at 5 and 4 not getting in the playoffs, but 3 and 6 Lansing Catholic and Olivet both getting into the playoffs?
And see, that's what I'm talking about. And those teams, I mean, they play in a good conference. I just don't feel like you can dog a team for playing in an ass conference. It's tough. Now, if you play and lost head to head, yeah, fair game. You lost. Cool beans.
That one is tough where you have, multiple 3 and 6 teams getting in and a 5 and 4 team misses. That one's tough.
Well, the problem was you have all these good schools that are trying to schedule non-conference games, and they're like, well, no one's going to play us. So we're just going to get to 6 wins easy. Or it happens the other way. They have to schedule all the good teams.
Right.
A small school. I mean, there's 2 sides of it. I personally like it better than the 6 wins.
I do too.
Just because it levels the playing field. But I would be very frustrated being a senior in high school, winning 6 games and not making the playoffs, or winning 5 games and seeing a team with 2 3-win teams making the playoffs over me in D6. That would be a tough pill to swallow.
I said it last year. I just think you have to be at least 500 to qualify. Like, it doesn't mean you're in, but you just have to get to 500.
There's 9 games.
Can't do that
4, 5,
anymore.
4 and 5.
Oh, I get that, but like, okay, go 5-4, and then at least you're eligible. That doesn't mean you're going to make it, but at least you're eligible. You could not make it over another 5-4 team.
I think, Kory, you'd run out of teams.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
5-4s. I don't think there's enough.
The problem is 11-man football in the state of Michigan should not be 8 divisions anymore. There's less than 500 teams.
That's correct.
Eight divisions is too many. It's too many divisions. It was fine back in 1999 when they started the automatic, when it was an automatic qualifier in 1999, 6 wins, but you had over 600 11-man football teams.
So you were even closer to 700.
Right. You were competing with like 80 teams, right, in your divisions. Someone can do the math for me on that one. Something like that. 70-something teams per division, whereas now it's barely 60 teams a division.
That's correct.
So more than half of the teams are getting in each division. Like I'm just scrolling right now on division. I'm on division
has
5.
62 teams. D2 has 62 teams. Yeah. More than half the teams are making.
Right. Division 4 is what I'm on right now, is 63. So yeah, more than half the teams in every division are getting in.
7 has 59.
Yeah, that's just. Yeah, I think Division 7, every 5-win team got in. I think Division 7 was the one where no 5-win teams missed. Every single 5-win or better team got in.
I get it's not uniform. I mean, the argument isn't just to be fair. It's like Brett said, you're a senior in high school, and for example, like a team that's historically bad wins 5 games finally, and they just don't even get a sniff. And you have MLK at 4-5 or 3-6, whatever they went.
Well, and that was what I was worried about with Perry, because we talked about Perry a couple weeks ago. How I gave them a shout out. Perry was sitting at 5-2 and was they were 15 in playoff points. Then they get upset by Lakewood and fall 10 spots because Lakewood hadn't won a game. Fortunately, Bath, who beat them, had some wins, so that didn't knock them out of the playoffs. But they did get in. It was their first ever playoff qualification in school history, so that was cool to see that. And Hart, Cannon has done a little documentary on Hart. Pretty cool. They have their best season since the 1960s, when go 8-1. They're in the playoffs. So that's.
And there was only 5 teams. I think Coach Tanis would correct me. So sorry, Coach, if I'm getting this wrong. But there's only 5 teams who have been playing since the start of the modern playoff era, so 1973, 1974, who had not made the playoffs traditionally, right? So we're throwing out 2020.
Right.
Hart and Perry were on that list, I believe.
Yes.
So congrats to both programs.
So that means there's only 3 teams currently who have never made the playoffs.
It's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about that last episode, I think.
I remember Brett bringing that one up. So that's cool to see that 2 teams got off of that. Not a list, obviously, you want to be a part of, but pretty cool
like the Lions.
Pretty cool that they got off of it. Well, did you guys have any other snubs or anyone else under deserving that you want to mention in terms of the playoff qualifiers this year?
I have one. They're not going to get mentioned by anybody. You guys won't be able to guess them. Guess who? We haven't even talked about them, but they're the number 1 snub per the model.
The number 1 snub
what
per
division?
The model.
Division 4.
Vicksburg.
4-5 team.
Vicksburg.
No.
Hamilton.
No.
Holland Christian.
Hudsonville Unity Christian.
Holland Christian finished the year as the highest rated in their division to miss the playoffs. It's kind of incredible. No one's talking about them, but number 13 team in D4. That's what we would say. And improving rapidly throughout the year. So we have these on our pro site. We have these rating charts to show how your rating's changing. Theirs is like this. Boom.
Interesting. I mean, I'm looking through their. Geez, they beat Hudsonville Unity Christian 49-20.
Yeah, Unity's terrible this year, though.
That's crazy to me because Unity Christian had such a good stretch for a while, but yeah, they had a few.
That's a tough conference. Okay, Blue Man.
It is. That is a very tough conference. Interesting. Very interesting. Anyone else? Any other snubs or under deserving teams? I don't know if I would argue that anyone's under deserving of being in. I think the only one that maybe would have some weight, because I agree with Kory. Actually, I do agree with Kory on this one, that in Division 6, how you did get 2, 3, and 6 teams in, especially. I'm sorry, I have nothing against Lansing Catholic, but dude, Lansing
3
Catholic,
and 6, that's bad.
It's not even that, Kory. Look at the scores of some of their games. They got beat 48-20, 52-14, 45-0, 41-6. So I mean, it'd be one thing if like they had some competitive losses. 4 of them were blowouts. So like I get that they were losing and beating and playing bigger schools. Like they beat Waverly, who's Division 3 and did win a couple games. And actually Waverly was pretty competitive this year. They took DeWitt to the fourth quarter down by only 9 points at DeWitt. So Waverly was actually pretty competitive this year, but that was probably their biggest win. I mean, then they beat Eaton Rapids and Lakewood, who had a combined 1 win. So it's pretty crazy to me that Lansing Catholic got in. That's the nature of the playoffs, though, when they're playing schools that are much bigger than them and they're in Division 6. I'll be curious to see how they do in the playoffs. But
yeah, just to play devil's advocate there, right? We probably would have been sitting here saying the same thing last year. They got in at 4 and 5.
Correct. Yeah.
Turned right around and took down 9-0 Durand. And
they did win. They did win the district. Yeah, they did win a district. That is true.
So I don't know. We'll see.
I'd be interested to see if they are able to pull it off again this year, though, because they were not
nobody.
They were a bit more. They were more competitive, I thought, last year at 4 and 5. At 3 and 6 this year, they were not very. And they play Michigan Center, who's 7 and 2. I don't know. I guess we'll see if they can pull out a win over Michigan.
If I remember correctly, we said that they were a 7-point underdog to Durand last year. So we did say, there wasn't any undefeateds projected in week 1 to lose, and we said, but hey, look, Durand, that's the closest spread of the week. Upset alert,
and
maybe.
Lansing Catholic pulled it off,
and that happened. Now it's a 10-point spread. So
they're a 10-point underdog to Michigan Center.
Yeah,
interesting. Well, I guess we will see what happens with that one. All right. With that, let's move on to 2 more topics here before we get into state championship predictions, Final Four predictions. We got to talk about districts. So we'll talk about districts, and then after that, we'll get into divisions. But in terms of the toughest districts, easiest districts, and Cannon, if you're interested in opening up, because I know with your model that you, I think, you tend to rate the districts. I know you usually put that in your newsletter. So you obviously, I'm sure you already have your playoff preview newsletter. I didn't check my email today. Did you post that today? Didn't send it yet?
No, tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. I figured it was probably coming soon if it didn't come today. But so I don't know if there's any you wanted to mention, any districts. I know that we already talked about, because we were texting. The 4 of us were already texting about some of the districts that really popped out in terms of difficult or easy across the board. There's some glaring ones, I think.
Yeah, so I have 3 that I want to mention, probably the ones everybody's talking about. My number 1, it's tough. I have 2 that are like right up at the number 1, and then 1 that's kind of number 3. That first one is in D8. The Fowler-Ithaca matchup.
Oh my God! Yes, unbelievable.
That's one of the worst draws that you could have had for both teams. I think I've been saying on some other podcasts, there's kind of this. There's like 6 teams, 5 teams, and then everybody else in D8 this year. Well, Fowler and Ithaca are both part of that category. The top 6 teams that could win it.
And of course, they're matched up first round.
Fowler's our number 1 team, and they actually have just low odds of winning it all as the number 1 team, because they have to play such a good team in the first round. So it's kind of
likely New Lothrop too, who's also a very good team.
Yeah. So that's a terrible draw.
Right. If they manage to beat Ithaca, then they would have to turn around, and play New Lothrop, who only has 1 loss. I mean, what a brutal district.
That's right. So that's my number 1. But right up there, 1B, and I would flip them back and forth. You guys might actually say this one's tougher, is the Byron Center.
I was going to say D2. Yep.
Portage Northern, Portage Central, just gauntlet.
Unbelievable.
I haven't released my rankings yet, but week 9, regular season finish ratings, that is the number 2, the number 3, the number 5, and the number 7 team in D2. That's incredible.
All in the same district.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I just to add some sizzle onto that, Caledonia returning D1 runner-up. Byron Center. Caledonia also the last team to beat the number 1 team in the state, Rockford. Our number 1 team in the state. I know some people will take issue with that. Byron Center, only win over the number 1 team in D3. Forest Hill Central. It's the only team to beat them this year. And then Portage Northern and Portage Central have one loss themselves. So I think they might.
Yeah, Portage Central got beat by Forest Hills Central, and then Portage Northern got beat by Portage Central. A little ring around the rosy there with those teams.
So that's a gauntlet.
Well, and then whoever comes out of that district will likely play East Lansing.
They're all top 10 in playoff points too, which is ridiculous.
So that sucks. No other way to put it. That just sucks for everybody. And then my last one is the Corunna Notre Dame Prep District. Corunna is undefeated, having a great season. They have to play an undefeated team first round, Hamady. So
I saw that one.
That's just a tough district. That's a tough district. So those are my three. Yeah. What did I miss?
I'll go. I'll take a stab at it. It's probably not the toughest district out there, but I would say maybe the most intriguing from a West Sider perspective is the Zeeland Bowl paired with EGR and a team who I think could be a dark horse to make a big run in Coopersville. They've got probably the biggest line maybe in D3 across the board. And they're just well coached too. I think, they're going to give Zeeland West, assuming that they get past East Grand Rapids, they're going to give Zeeland West a tough game in that district final.
I think Coopersville's got a couple Power 5 guys on that team, I think. I know they have at least one that's going to Northwestern.
Got some big boys, big farm boys.
I want to mention, because I was talking to the guys about this Cannon, and maybe, I don't know if you have any interesting feedback on this, but with Division I, and because we all went to, me, Brett, and Kory all went to Grand Ledge, and Tate is from Grand Ledge originally, so when it comes to playoffs and football, it's always been interesting because Grand Ledge being Division I sits in the middle of Lansing. In years past, there were years where they get drawn to the OK Red. If 4 OK Red, Division I OK Red teams make it, they get pushed east, and generally being a district with Howell, Brighton, Heartland, even Holt. Unfortunately, none of those teams made the playoffs this year. So what happened is Grand Ledge initially, I think, looking at your projections on your playoff wizard and even Snooze to Use projections, there were some that had them being pulled to Ann Arbor. Inevitably, what ended up happening, I think this really screwed up Grand Ledge's pairing, like kind of shook up all of Division I because of the direction they took them, kind of rearranged, I think, everything in Detroit. They took Grand Ledge north to the Flint district. And so that it was like a domino effect, pushed all the teams back all around and restructured all the districts in there. So then what ended up happening is on the, I guess, in air quotes, west side of the bracket, because it's not truly the west side. It has the west, the OK Red district, Grand Ledge, and then it's more north teams and Ann Arbor teams. You have on one side of the bracket, you have Rockford, Davison, Northville, Belleville, Saline, all on one side of the bracket. And then on the other side, you have Lake Orion, Kaztech. I guess you can make an argument for Southfield. It just, to me, seems like very top heavy on one side of the bracket.
It's all your power.
Sounds like Grand Ledge should have taken care of business.
What's that?
It sounds like Grand Ledge should have taken care of business against East Lansing.
I don't think that wasn't going to change how they...
You'd still be over there.
It wouldn't have changed how they did the districts. It would have changed that we would have had a home playoff game, but it wouldn't have changed.
You've been home against Grand Blanc. I'm just messing.
No, I know, but it wouldn't have changed how they structured the districts.
Yeah,
I just think it's really interesting. I don't know. We were texting about it would be nice to see them change how they seed the divisions. I don't know if they ever will, but I mean, just off of the 3 districts that you listed, Can alone, it just seems unfortunate that you're getting teams that probably should be meeting in the 3rd round or the 4th round that are meeting in the 1st and the 2nd. And that's happened for a long time. This year is not unique. It's happened for a long time, but I just think there's some really egregious ones this year to see so many good teams. And then this is what makes me even more angry is that in Division I, you have a district like Lake Orion's that has 3 4 and 5 teams. There's a 4 and 5 team hosting a playoff game in Lake Orion's district. Clarkston's 4 and 5 hosting 4 and 5 Romeo. Like,
yeah.
Meanwhile, Saline and Belleville are in the same district. Like, I explain that to me.
You really only are ever going to get that in D1 though, because of the tilt with the dense population on the east side with the bigger schools. I mean, they really should revisit this at some point and say, okay, a team traveling 4 extra miles is probably going to make a better team make the finals. And it's not going to save that much money in the long run. I mean, if you go to the map on Snooze and look at everything, all the pins are in one spot. I mean, they could have leveled out the quadrants if they wanted to, but
that's right. West Ottawa to Rockford, man, that's a drive, right? That's I don't know, an hour. Tate,
yeah, at least the traffic.
I would take that matchup 10 times out of 10 if I were Rockford, though.
Oh, for sure.
But Rockford to Grand Ledge, right? That's also probably an hour.
It's just over an hour.
Yeah, it's 1 hour. I live there. It's 1 hour.
So if West Ottawa would have lost, Grand Ledge probably would have went west and played Rockford.
No, because East Kent would have got in.
I'm making the point of the travel concerns are probably not, like, is it really that much of a concern, right? If that
Division One more than any other Division One more than any other division should be seeded 1 through 32, because the point you're making right now is that no one is ever really driving that far. I mean, from Grand Rapids to Detroit, it's not like the UP schools. It's not like we have teams that would have to go 5 or 6 hours or more. Like you're talking, if you had like if you had one of these Grand Rapids schools going to Detroit school, you're talking what, like maybe 2.5, 3 hours tops. I mean, I think the whole point of the way they did this was they were trying to avoid like schools from way up north in the UP having to go really, really far.
You're also talking Division One. All these schools
have money, right? They have money, correct? They have the money to do it. Good point. I don't know. At the very least, if they're never going to do 1 through 32, which they never will, they should seed the region. To me, at the very least, 1 through 8, I think would make sense, because then you're going to avoid these undefeated teams playing first and second round if you at least do that.
But, right. I'm all about the region.
I mean, if you're talking about money too, people don't want to watch a Lake Orion team in the state finals that just walked through the entire side of their bracket. I mean, and they play a beat up Belleville. Well, I mean, it'd be a good game, but a beat up Belleville that beat Northwood, Davison, or Rockford on their way there. I mean, that's why you get such blowouts sometimes in the state finals.
Well, do we want to talk about that? The toughest and easiest paths? I think Division One, that's a clear one. Lake Orion's biggest test will be in the semifinals. They'll likely play either Castech or Southfield A&T would be my guess. But to me, Lake Orion should run through their region.
I think they're going to lose to West Bloomfield, to be honest.
Really? You think so? You think West Bloomfield takes down Lake Orion?
It could be possible. If they're as soft and as weak as you guys are saying, then why are they a shoo-in to get to the semis?
That's true. I could see West Bloomfield winning that game.
Yeah, I wouldn't count out Chippewa Valley on that side, or Eisenhower. So I think that other side is really a crapshoot. Like, not a crapshoot, because they're all good teams. I just think
it's a lot of teams that play each other and beat each other up during the regular season.
Yeah. Like, look at that MAC Red, man.
Yeah, that's a brutal conference.
Just Eisenhower is the clear, they won the conference, but they also lost to the team that took 4th place, Romeo, right? So it's a 4 and 5 team, right? There's a lot of parity in those after you get past the clear kind of top end there. So
I think that it would be an argument that Lake Orion could get upset early. Maybe not in their district. I don't know. Clarkston and Romeo are not slouches, but I just think it's interesting to see you got 3 9-0 teams on one side and only 1 on the other. So it'll be curious to see what comes out of that.
That West Side D1, honestly, is almost a toss-up. I think between Rockford, even Granville's a sleeper. You got Belleville and Saline. I mean, any one of those teams could get beat or win a state title.
I still think I would still pick Belleville.
We're going to talk about teams that got kind of shafted. I think the number one overall seed in D4 got a terrible draw with Allendale in their opening game. It's a really underrated team. They've played like almost every team close. I think that they could give Whitehall a scare. I think Whitehall's still going to win the state championship, but seeing crazier things happen, I wouldn't be surprised if that game kind of comes down the wire.
Yeah, Allendale has played teams tough. Who did they just play close recently?
How about Portland and Sexton, 9-0, 8-1, playing first round after Portland already beat Sexton?
Yeah, I would be upset if they hadn't blown them out. I'm shocked that Hastings, I haven't really dove into their schedule too much, but I'm shocked Hastings is getting that much love. I don't know a whole lot about their conference, but to have more playoff points than Portland, who has literally demolished everybody they've played this year.
Well, their two losses were to teams that were combined 17-0. They got beat by Pontiac Prep, who's 8-0, and they got beat by Whitehall's 9-0.
Yeah, so that's the playing a good schedule helps there.
They also took down Parma Western, and that was Parma Western's only loss. So that's why they got a lot of playoff points.
Who do you guys think that the computer model's biggest lock is to win a state championship?
Your computer model's biggest lock to win a state championship. Lumen Christi.
Can we get a division?
6.
6.
Almont?
No. Kingsley.
Kingsley, really?
Yeah. So the other thing you have to consider is like the computer model's factoring in who you have to go through, right? So the biggest odds and the only team over 50%. So it's still only 55% odds. So still just slightly better than a coin flip at this point is Kingsley.
They got Negaunee in their region, though. Don't sleep on Negaunee.
Yeah. It's only
Vince is forever loyal to Negaunee now.
Hey, come on. Hart is on that side of the bracket, too. Come on. Hart going to make a run, Cannon?
I think so. We think got Kent City, winnable game, and Reed City or Montague. It's also a winnable game. So I think they just had their best game of the year against Ravenna. That's certainly 44-0.
44-0 against a program that usually is pretty darn good.
Peaking at the right time.
Very interesting.
Who do you guys think makes it out of D8, New Lothrop, Ithaca, or Fowler? Who makes it out of that region?
The Fighting Kenneck-Schnecks of Fowler.
The Fighting Kenneck-Schnecks.
That was a good one.
Tate, that's funny that you just said that. Okay. No, but twice
his brother-in-law is a Kenneck Fowler.
I was literally at my wife's cousin's wedding. All right. They're little people, right? But their next door neighbors they're a couple. One is Pewamo Westphalia grad, one's a Fowler grad. Okay. They moved to Lowell. And they're talking and they're
moving up in the world, much bigger city.
That's right. They were telling me about the last names. And I was like, oh, what's the one? It's like Koenig. And they're like, oh, Kenneschnecht. And I'm like, that conversation literally happened this weekend. So that's too damn funny.
Don't forget the Thalens. There's Thalens.
And the Schraubens.
Yeah, Schrauben is a family.
We wander that way.
Another one, though, in D8 that I wouldn't sleep on is Addison, who helped me go 5-0 with my picks this weekend. Addison just beat Napoleon, who was undefeated, 24-0. They're 9-0. Although they have Ottawa Lake Whiteford in their district. Who's also
Isn't Ottawa Lake Whiteford in West Michigan, Vince?
No, they're actually in Ohio.
Indiana.
I think Chicago.
Addison will be an underdog in their first game against Hudson.
I saw that.
That's their reward for a 9-0 season.
Is that they got Hudson and then Whiteford.
Cannon, who'd you say has the easiest path and who has the hardest path statistically?
In D8 or
anything?
Well, so the hardest path's kind of a tough question because you would just pick the worst team, right? And you would say that's
duh.
But the easiest path is Kings Kingsley in D6. They're the biggest lock at 55% chance of winning a state title right now. So like the most spread out at the top.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
I think it's D8, to be honest with you. It's definitely not D7. I'm just thumbing through some things right now. You would either say it's D8 or D4, I would say. D4 has 3 teams, all with about a 30% chance of winning the title. So that could be, and then a myriad of teams that could also end up in the finals. But Whitehall, Niles, or Harper Woods is what we would say is your likely state finalist there, or state title winner. And then, but I think it's D8. Fowler, Ubley, Iron Mountain, Whiteford, Ithaca, Hudson.
It's a hell of a division. I did mention, I think, in our last one that I thought D8 was going to be the most competitive outside of D1. Well, with that, I think we're going to transition from our overall playoff field preview into making some projections, some picks, some predictions here. Final four, we're going to pick the semis, final four for each 11-man football division, all 8 divisions, and a champion. We will, once we get to, I think what we did last year, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think before the Final Four last year, I think it was after the regionals that we did new picks. I can't remember how many rounds it was, but we did a state championship preview where we picked the 2 teams that would win to go to the state championship, as well as our state champion once we got to the semifinals. So we'll probably do that again. I think Tate's with us. I meant Cannon. I think Cannon joined us and did that last year. So we'll get to that a little bit later. So anyway, we are going to start with Division 8 here. Brett has the table for all 5 of us with our picks shared, and we will go division by division. We'll take turns alternating here. We just want to start from the left, Tate, and then we'll each division move one over. Tate, you want to start us off with Division 8?
Yeah, this is kind of a crapshoot for me, D8. We know we've mentioned how tough, how stacked this division is. I'm going to go Frankfort, Fowler, Ottawa Lake, Whiteford, and Riverview, Gabriel, Richard. Is that how you say it? Or is it Richard?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say Fowler's going to take it home.
Wow.
The Fighting Kinnickschnecks.
The Fighting Kinnickschnecks. The Fighting Thalens. The Fighting Scrobbins.
All right. I can go next for DA. I guess before we get into this, I was looking through some records across the state. Brother Rice went 0-9 this year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's their worst record since they started since the school opened. They had a 0-8 season, I think, back in one of their first seasons ever, and that they haven't had a season that bad since. Pretty bad.
That is shocking. But I'm gonna go with DA. I'm gonna go with Iron Mountain. I'm gonna go Ithaca. Actually, no, I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna go New Lothrop. And Ottawa Lake, Whiteford. And I'm gonna go with the Marine Sydney Cardinals. Marine City's always good. And then I'm gonna have Iron Mountain winning it all. Oops.
Iron Mountain winning the whole shebang. Look at you.
I have it. The U.
The whole
nice
shebang.
All right. I've got Iron Mountain, Ithaca back to their winning ways, Ottawa Lake, Whiteford, Riverview, Gabriel Richard, and then I am going to take Ithaca, bringing home another state title.
Very, very interesting.
All right, Finch.
I am going to go with Beale City, Ithaca, Addison, And Clarkston Everest. And I am going to go with Ithaca winning the whole thing in Division 8.
If you look at Ithaca's, if you look at, they're just blanking people. This is ridiculous.
I know their schedule is pretty crazy.
Anyway,
all right, Goosepoop, what you got?
I have Iron Mountain, Ubley, Whiteford, Everest.
Ubley.
Whiteford is the champ.
Whiteford as the champ.
Champions.
They won it. They won it last year, correct? I believe, indeed.
That's right.
8.
All right, we'll snake it back. Let's go with you, Goosepoop. Start out D7.
All right, D7. This is going to be a controversial one, but they meet in the regional finals. It's a coin flip. This regional final will decide the state championship, is what my model would tell you. So Clinton over Lumen Christi. Hold on here.
Clinton over Lumen Christi.
Yeah, so it's my other brackets here. Hold on here. I'm getting lost. Menominee. That's not the right semi, but that still works. North Muskegon, right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I want Lawton. And then
that's a tough region, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want Lawton, and then I want. This is a bit of a weaker region. I think it's Millington would be the who comes out of there. No, Cass City. I want Cass City. Wow, just edging. That'll be a great game. If it happens, Cass City and Millington. So, sorry guys. I need to do.
You're forgiven.
Who's the champ?
You need a beer. Sweet Jesus.
Clinton.
I'll be a little smoother if I had a drink.
County. All right, Vince.
I'm gonna go with Charlevoix, Powama, Westphalia.
Mm.
And then I'm going to go with Grosse Pointe Woods University Leggett. And then Lumen Christi, and I got Lumen Christi winning the whole thing.
Kory.
All right, I've got Menominee. I've got Lawton. I have got Millington, and then JLC. And I am going to take JLC for my title winner.
All right. I got I'm going to take Menominee as well. We're going to go with PW, the cousin connection X.
The neighbors. They're neighbors.
Also going to go Millington. Shout out to Cam Wilson. Tate knows Cam.
Wham!
And Jackson Lumen Christi. Vince has been hyping them up all season. If it wasn't for the loss in Grayling.
Gaylord.
Yeah, 9-0 Gaylord. They would have been undefeated. Tate.
All right, I've got Charlevoix, North Muskegon, University Legit, or Liggett, however you say it.
Legit.
Sounds more legit. And Lumen Christi taking it home.
All right, follow that up with
change mine there, Brett. Tell what you did to Tate's to Lig, so it's the same. Legit. Yeah, change it to legit.
Liggett.
All right, we're on to Division 6, gentlemen.
Right. D6, I've got Gladstone, Hart, Constantine, and Warren Michigan Collegiate. And I've got Warren Michigan Collegiate winning the championship.
Do they still have that quarterback?
Yeah, they have a quarterback.
You know which one I'm talking about.
That tall, skinny kid? Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh, the kid from 2 years ago that got beat by Lansing Catholic?
Yeah.
All right, Tate. Wow, that's a big pick there.
Feeling the Pirates.
I'm gonna go with Kingsley. Little bit of a reach here, but I'm up in the air between Reed City. I got some family in Reed City and also Claire. But I think I'm gonna go Reed City. Reed City, the Coyotes to make a run.
I just drove through Reed City on my way home on Sunday.
Did you get the Indian food? Oh, they have a place with great Indian food.
I did not.
They also have a really clean Taco Bell. Also going to go Constantine and then Warren Michigan Collegiate. I'm going to pick Warren Michigan Collegiate to win. That was my preseason pick. Kory.
All right, I'm going to go Kingsley, Claire, Constantine, and Elmont brings it home.
Vince.
I'm gonna go with Gladstone. Hart. Cannon will appreciate that pick. Constantine. And I'm also going to go with Warren Michigan Collegiate, and I'm picking Warren Michigan Collegiate to win the whole thing.
Copier.
What'd you say?
I said copier.
Yeah, you guys have the exact same.
We do? I didn't even notice. Oh, we do. Jeez.
All right, Goose.
All right, I have Kingsley, Claire, Constantine, and Elmont. Same as Kory. And then I have Kingsley as the champion. As you guys heard, they're my biggest lock.
Was our Constantine pick the first universal or unanimous pick for a region?
Looks like it.
That's actually a fun one. I'm sneaky hoping that it's actually Ida, for the only reason that Ida was in a play-in game last week. But that's just
they had to win to get in.
Football, that conference they're in, is so tough, and all the teams are good, and they were ranked top 10 all year, but they're just they've got to go through a gauntlet there. So
we almost had a unanimous JLC region. Goosepoop's going to make that our fan on Twitter angry that we weren't unanimous on JLC in that region.
That's all right. They're good. They like to drag me. That's fine. I love it. I ride with my model. They know that. They better respect me for that. So.
All right, we're going up to Division 5.
Okay, so I have Ogama, who you might call one of your surprise teams this year. West Catholic, not Catholic Central. That'll be a great game. Notre Dame Prep, another surprise team this year, having a great year.
Yes, they've kind of came out of nowhere.
And what is my last one? Oh, this will be good. Flat Rock.
Oh.
Flat Rock. I think I don't know if they made the semis last year. They might have made the regional finals. They have quite the quarterback. I don't know if you guys seen this guy, Graham Youngie.
I have not.
He's still got another year. He's pretty good. Pretty talented.
What's
a very interesting
mascot?
The Rams.
Gotta be a Flat Rock, right?
I think it's the Rams.
Yeah, their helm looks like a ram. I think Flat Rocks are Ford makes a Mustang.
I've only seen some highlights from him, but the Friday Night Victors guys who cover that region say he's the best. He's the best downriver quarterback they've seen in. I don't know. I can't remember what the time frame they put on it. 20 years, 15 years. So.
Joe Montana.
Who's your champ, Goose?
What?
Who's your champ?
West Catholic.
All right, Vince. Let's see you follow that one up.
I'm going to go with Frankenmuth. Man, it's hard to pick against West Catholic. Yeah, I'm going to go West Catholic.
That's a tough region, though.
It is a tough region because I see Belding at 8-1, GRCC at 8-1.
I screwed up because even though West Catholic's the best team, the statistical odds is actually Notre Dame Prep because they don't have to go through as many tough teams. But
yeah, and that's what I was just gonna say. I think that region's pretty tough too because Marine City's no slouch. Corona's 9-0. Flint Hammy's 8-0. I still think I'm gonna go with Notre Dame Prep for that region. I'm gonna pick Notre Dame Prep as well. Man, that final region is weird. I don't know. I kind of want to go against Ken just so we don't have the same exact pick, but I mean, I'm also I don't know. It's like a coin flip over there. Give me Detroit Southeastern just to shake things up a bit. Just for fun. Detroit Southeastern's losses are to a couple good schools there. So who knows? My champ is West Catholic.
All right, Kory.
Give me Frank. West Catholic.
Give me Frank.
Corona. And Detroit Southeastern.
Ooh.
And I think West Catholic runs away with it.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pick my champ first. It's going to be GR West Catholic. I'm going to go Frankenmuth. GR West Catholic. That's going to be a hell of a semifinal. Sorry, my screen just went down. Let's go with let's stay in the Marine City train. So I got Marine City, Cardinal Mooney, and D8. Let's go Marine City, D5. And then I'm probably going to have to go with Flat Rock as well. All right, Tate.
All right, give me Tri-County.
Catholic
Central, not West Catholic.
Ooh.
Pontiac, Notre Dame, Prep, and Flat Rock, and Catholic Central. Winning it all.
Brett, change mine to NDP too, so it's the same abbreviation when you get a chance.
That holy war is going to be something else. I'm excited for it.
Tate, every time I type GRCC,
the Holy War.
I think
the
of that
Holy
War. We would have to go to that game.
Every time I type GRCC, I think of that guy that I always used to drag you because he says it's not Grand Rapids Community College.
Yeah, make sure you type it all out, or else you'll enrage the Cougars.
Let them know that we don't give a shit.
The Holy War. We need to make a graphic with that, with like a halo and a cross and just Jesus
and a devil going like this.
Who you got D4?
All right, D4. I've got Whitehall. This next pick was probably the hardest one to pick. I think that I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Goose.
Wow, yeah, what a region.
That region is pretty like up for grabs, I would say.
Region 2 and D4, yeah.
I've got Edwardsburg just based on past history coming out of there.
Oh, going with the 5 and 4 team.
I've got Hazlitt making a run.
Wow.
They do got some talent in Hazlitt.
They do have some talent.
Then I've got Harper Woods coming out as well. And then I've got Whitehall taking it home.
That is an interesting. Division 4 is very interesting. That'll be a fun one to watch.
All right. Who do I have for D4? I'm going to go Whitehall. Portland. There you go, Kory. Goodrich. I believe Goodrich was in it last year.
They were. They got beat by South Christian.
And then let's go with gosh, this is a hard one to pick too. We'll go with Carlton Airport. I'll take the best team. And winning it all. Let's go Whitehall as well. They're the favorite to start the year. Kory.
Can Whitehall pass? I've never watched Whitehall or followed them. Are they a passing team or a running team? Anybody know?
They're pretty dynamic. They can kind of do it all.
I'm gonna go Whitehall, Portland, Chelsea, Redford Union, and I think Whitehall wins a state title pretty easily.
Don't tell your brother you said that.
One from asking if they pass the ball to picking him to win the state title.
Well, I just watched Portland play Berrien Springs, and Berrien Springs, if they could throw the football, would have beat Portland, but they just couldn't throw the football. So, there's that. Same with Sexton.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna go Whitehall. Portland, Goodrich, and Harper Woods, and I'm going to pick Harper Woods to win the whole thing. Harper Woods played a hell of a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They're Division 4, and they played multiple D1 teams close.
All right, Goosepoop.
Harper Woods pick is a good pick. So I'm going Whitehall, Niles, Harper Woods, and Goodrich. Nobody had Niles.
Yeah, we don't like Niles around here.
And then Niles is my champ.
Give me Niles.
Niles.
Oh, interesting. Their one loss kind of stands out. They got beat by Lakeshore, who's not that good. Interesting. But they crushed everybody else. Jeez. Look at the scores of those games. Holy shit. Dude.
They're running a flex bone down there. Just running over teams.
69-0, 56-18, 50-0, 61-21, 56-8, 55-0. Holy shit. Man, if they meet Whitehall in the semis, that'll be a hell of a game.
At least points.
Portland might have their hands full there, Kory.
One in Rome.
All right, D3. Who you got, Goose?
I have FHC, Zeeland West, Mason, and Walled Lake Western. Is that right? Does that work? No, Rouge.
No.
Rouge.
Okay.
Yeah. That one's going to be a little more wide open, though. Rouge is corner of the bracket.
Yeah, it is an interesting one.
And
my champ is FHC.
Kory. Or Vince, sorry. Vince.
Forest Hills Central. Parma Western. Mason. Rouge. Let's go dogs on top. I'll take Mason to win the whole thing. Eddie Sade would be proud.
Dogs by a million. All right, I'm going to go FHC, Coopersville, Mason, and King. I think Mason ends up beating King, and I think Mason wins it all.
I'm going to go Forest Hills Central, Coopersville, Mason, and let's go with gosh, this one's kind of up for grabs too. Let's go with Riverview.
Riverview, nice.
Change it up. And I got Forest Hills Central winning it all. Tate.
We're gonna go Forest Hills Central, Coopersville, Mason, the Rouge.
The
Rouge. I got the Bulldogs winning it all.
The dogs. Dogs on top.
All right. Turn around for D2.
D2, I got Muskegon, Caledonia, Seaholm, and De La Salle. And I've got Muskegon winning it all.
Yeah, Muskegon looks like they can sneak out of that one pretty easily. Be interesting though. I think I'm gonna end up taking Saginaw Heritage.
Ooh.
Ooh. Then this one's gonna be tough too. Can Caledonia beat Byron Center? The answer probably is yes. Caledonia has already been there in D1. I already got Forest Hill Central returning from the West. I'm gonna go with Byron Center. I'd like to see them win that game. And then we'll go with Allen Park. Shout out to Goo.
Shout
out
and
to Goo.
Warren De La Salle. And I think Warren De La Salle is going to win it all. Kory.
I'm going to go Muskegon, Caledonia, Allen Park, Warren De La Salle, and I think I'm going to go on a limb here. I think Caledonia wins it all.
Interesting.
Caledonia.
Scots.
I liked Caledonia better. You should fix that back, Brett.
I'm going to go Muskegon. I might throw you guys for a loop here. I think I'm going to go East Lansing.
I'm
going to have them go into their first semi since 2007. They got the talent. And I think that Portage, Caledonia, Byron Center, I think that district, they're going to get beat up. East Lansing's got a much easier path, I think. They just have to take down one of those teams. I am then going to pick... Man, that Region 3 is kind of a toss-up over there. I'm going to pick Allen Park. And then I'm going to go with De La Salle. And I'll pick Muskegon to win the whole thing.
Mr. Goose.
All right. I have Muskegon. Caledonia, although being slightly worse rated than Byron Center, just slightly, it's less than a point. It'll be a pick'em game. Has slightly better odds because Portage Central's rated easier than Portage Northern, so take that for what it's worth. I have kind of a curveball in this third one. It's kind of strange what the model's telling me. Dexter.
I almost picked Dexter. I was really leaning towards it.
It doesn't make much sense. They're rated number 14, but they've had some losses that they shouldn't have had. I think they're getting a lot of credit for playing Saline close. So again, I ride with my model. I'm also surprised no one picked Groves here. Groves is a good pick. So and then De La Salle would be my fourth. And I picked Muskegon as my champ.
All right. Last one, the big dogs, D1.
The big dogs eat.
I have a Rockford. Is it Rockford and Belleville in the semis? Yeah, Belleville on one side. And then Lake Orion in Chippewa Valley.
This one's tough.
This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Rockford.
Well, my champ is Rockford. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Sorry. No.
I'm going to go with Rockford. I'm going to go with Belleville. Oh, this is the region I was bitching about earlier. Because I think you're right, Can. I think this is one that is very intriguing. I think I'm going to go with Eisenhower. I'll take Ike, as they're so lovingly called. And then Give me Tech.
Ooh.
And I will pick Belleville to run it back.
Here's a heads up that you should be looking out for. Is that John Glenn Cass Tech game? I think that'll be very close. So,
I don't feel super confident about that Cass Tech pick. I just know that they were a 2-point conversion in overtime from going to the state championship last year, and I could imagine that being a bit of a motivator. But they have to get out of Westland, John Glenn, Southfield, A&T, and either Macomb, Dakota, or Chip Valley. I mean, what a hell of a stretch they'd have to get through.
No, that bottom quadrant. Anybody could win.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just saying that nobody's talking about John Glenn, right? And I think it could catch people by surprise if they do in fact win, which they could.
100%.
All right, I'm going with Rockford, Belleville. West Bloomfield, Southfield, A&T.
Nice.
And I'm going to take Rockford winning a title.
First in 15 years, huh?
It could be a Rockford Lake Orion title like in 2009 or 8.
That was 8. That was their last one.
I remember going to that game.
Yeah, it was a good game initially.
I was on the sideline for that game. It was very awkward. The Rockford kids were looking at, I think it was Blake, T, and I on the sideline, and they were looking at us like, hold on, we know you guys.
Vince, I remember you and I sitting at that game just as little sophomores and just thinking, wow, look at these ladies walking down the stairs, because we sat right by the Lake Orion student section.
The leg hairs were just on fire or what?
Oh, Vince is probably one hand in the popcorn, one hand in his leg hairs. I'm going to go Rockford, Belleville, Eisenhower, and my last one, Dakota.
Nice. I was hoping you would keep this going. We've all picked a different team from that region.
And I think ultimately, I'm going to change it up. I think Eisenhower might take it home.
They've never won a state title. They've been to like 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them. Never won one.
He'll be back in, guys. Don't you worry. He definitely broke his leg.
Yeah, he is not going to be back. A little fun inside joke there from the 2000 state championship.
State title.
Tate, last one.
I've got Rockford, Belleville, West Bloomfield, and Cass Tech. And I've got Belleville running it back.
All right. Well, there you have it.
Can I change my just to keep the computer model consistent and keeping the favorite is I want to change West Catholic to Notre Dame Prep. So just for posterity and consistency's sake.
I was wondering if you were going to ask to do that. When you mentioned it earlier, I thought it was coming.
You're going to make people angry with that one. You messed up our unanimous. That was our only unanimous pick, Cannon. Oh, that's right. You got the Grand Rapids Community College winning that one.
That's right. Big talent gap there.
Well, that's interesting that we do not have a single unanimous pick. We were almost there for 7. That was the closest one. We have some unanimous
playoffs on our hands.
Yeah, we got some unanimous region picks, but no unanimous state title picks. So hopefully that means we're in for some fun playoff football. Well, all right, gentlemen, I think with that, are we all wrapped up for our state final preview? Any final thoughts or anything you guys want to add here in regards to our picks to any of the divisions? Other than I 100% do think we're going to have some really fun playoff football this year. I think there's a lot of parity in more than one division.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's fun. Great time of year.
Best time of the year.
It is the best time of the year.
Well, all right, guys. Nothing else to add. I think we can go ahead and wrap things up here. Thank you for checking out episode 49. Next time we're on, it'll be 50, episode 50. And I think Can will be joining us for that one as well, because I think our next one will be our state championship preview episode. So
we got a home between now and then.
Oh, we're not. What is just gonna have like an episode 50 just for nothing? Or
we're gonna have to talk about Spygate at some point.
Oh, jeez. We can't let that be our episode 50. That'd be so lame. We got to do something special with 50.
That guy was buying me tickets to every good game, and I can't believe that just finally got busted.
How's your iPhone 7 footage of the signs?
It looks like dial-up.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us here for episode 49. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at GLSF Ball, as well as Instagram, Great Lakes State Football. If you like the video versions of the episodes, subscribe to us on YouTube, Great Lakes State Football. Check out the audio episodes on Apple and Spotify, also Great Lakes State Football. Make sure you check out Cannon, aka Goosepoop's Playoff Wizard, his newsletter. You can go to his website and subscribe to. I'll have the links to his stuff in the description of the episode. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter as well. Make sure you check out our link for the NeuroPeak Pro Intel belt. Otherwise, I am Vince, guest Cannon, aka Goosepoop, with co-hosts Kory, Brett, and Tate. Great Lakes State Football, episode 49, Michigan High School Football Playoff Preview. Go Chargers.
The Lions.